Hello, Team Curious. Today's question is, which country can sustain itself for a longer period of time in this pandemic? Let's assume the longer period to be around 2 to 3 years for worst case scenario. Even WHO stated that this virus is going to stay for some time, resulting a stretched pandemic. Countries might observe partial lockdown in order to get life going, allowing only essential industries to run. Economy, it has already gone for a toss. Even after so much economic loss and unemployment, governments might be forced to feed people to keep them inside and safe. They have to find innovative ideas so that at certain extent people can work on small scale from home. Setting up call centers and IT companies are easy compared to other industries. But the challenging part is about manufacturing. Here is an option. Governments could find a way to keep manufacturing industries running with less workforce. This workforce will be working on all the key components which can't be done outside the manufacturing plant. For the assembly section, if some parts can be assembled by the people at home, that would be a great thing. Yes, logistics will be crucial here. This will help people nearby to those factories to have jobs and earn for themselves. Thanks to UV-based sanitization, it will help to make this possible for the safe distribution of work from home. Individuals also need to take initiatives to find their own ways to keep their source of income open. Altogether, options like these can keep the economy rolling steadily. Here are top 10 countries with largest GDP in the world. So, what are you thinking? Only these countries will be able to last? No. Here is a twist. In order to survive for a longer period of time, many factors have to be considered. It is not necessary that countries with only good amount of money will survive this pandemic for longer period. Three major factors that could play an important role are population, economy, water and cultivable land. We all know the basic needs of human being. No, internet is not a basic need. Though it is very difficult to live without it in today's world. Food, clothing and shelter are the three basic needs. Countries which can provide these basic needs to their population, they can not only sustain for 2 to 3 years, but they can be considered as self-sufficient. Countries might easily manage clothing and shelter, but food would be a major concern. Living with only basic needs will be like living in a Stone Age period. It's all about survival. Forget about the growth of the country. A self-sufficient country can fight back the pandemic for much longer period until the vaccine is out. So, how can a country be considered as self-sufficient? Do you remember those three major factors we discussed earlier? Let's see how they are so important. First, population. Countries with good working class population are healthy and hardworking. They might find innovative ideas for survival. But countries with huge population will face challenge to feed more empty stomachs. Second, economy. If an economy of a country is already weak, then the government of that country won't be able to make strong decisions like lockdown. Also, such countries are already fighting with their existing problems. Third, water and cultivable land. The importance of water is countless. Water itself is such an important commodity that countries with ample amount of water and fertile land can easily fulfill their basic needs. History tells us about the rise and fall of the civilization due to the access of fresh water. 90% of world's population lives within 10 km of fresh water source. Generally, countries with water also have fertile land, but if they don't, then it's a problem. Now, let's take example of some countries and see how they perform with those important factors. USA, United States of America is a huge country, be it land or wealth. Even it has very good population. The population is around 33 crores and has a very high literacy rate with 99%. Also, more than 60% is a working population, which is around 155 million. It has a massive GDP, which is about $20 trillion. It has 7 major rivers to supply water all over the country, and it ranks second in the world in the list of most cultivable land in the world. About 17% of its land is considered as cultivated land. The total cultivable land is around 16,81,826 square kilometers. Yes, this country has all the blessings it needs. It can easily sustain for many years in this pandemic. They would only need to cut short some extra expenses like military activities done in other countries, delay some less important research, etc. Let's see their scorecard for self-sufficient. USA has an excellent score in all the major factors. India. The first thing which comes to the mind after listening India is its population. It has a huge population of 135 crores with a huge working population which is more than 520 million. India has also achieved 74% of literacy rate. This developing country has a GDP of $2.7 trillion. India has 12 major rivers to supply water all over the country. About 57% of its land is considered as cultivated land. The total cultivable land is around 18,91,761 square kilometer. This makes India rank 1 in the list of most cultivable land in the world. Yes, farmers of this country are not only feeding its own population, but they are able to export to other countries too. India is very rich in resources. India can drastically reduce their imports if they start using renewable energy sources like solar and wind. India would only need to take care of their exponential population growth. Let's see India's scorecard of self-sufficient. India has a very good score in all the major factors. China. China is also a vast country in terms of land, population and wealth. The population is about 139 crores with 780 million of workforce. This is why they are known as manufacturing unit for the whole world. The literacy rate of China is 96%. It has the fastest growing economy with a GDP of $13.6 trillion. There are 4 major rivers in China. About 13% of its land is considered as cultivated land. The total cultivable land is around 12,38,013 square kilometers. China would only need to take care of their relations with other countries. Let's see China's scorecard of self-sufficient. It has an excellent score in all the major factors. Singapore. Singapore is a small but a developed country. It is very densely populated. The population is about 56 lakhs with 3.7 million of workforce. The literacy rate of Singapore is about 97%. The GDP of Singapore is $364 billion, which is quite substantial with respect to per capita income. There are 5 small rivers in Singapore, the longest of which, the Kallang River, is only 10 km length. There is hardly any cultivable land available in Singapore. It is around 20 square kilometer. Singapore also lacks in natural resources. They are highly dependent on other countries for the supply of agricultural products. Singapore would only need to partner with countries who can continuously supply food grains. Let's see Singapore's scorecard of self-sufficient. It has a very good score in all the major factors except one. Japan. Japan is also a small but a developed country. Population is a big question here. The population of Japan is about 12 crore and it is declining every year. Death rate of Japan is more than the birth rate. The working population is about 65 million. They have very high literacy rate, about 99%. They have very good economy and the GDP of Japan is around $5 trillion. There are four major rivers in Japan. About 12% of its land is considered as cultivated land. The total cultivable land is around 47,250 square kilometer. Even they might have to rely on other countries to fulfill their agricultural needs. Japan would only need to encourage their people to get married and have babies. Let's see Japan's scorecard of self-sufficient. It has an excellent score in all the major factors except one. Saudi Arabia. This oil-rich country has a huge landmass in the Middle East. The population is considerably low with respect to its area. Its population is only 3 crores with a workforce of mere 8.4 million. Literacy rate of Saudi Arabia is 95% and it has a GDP of $786 billion. In the world, there are 17 countries without any river. Saudi Arabia is also one of them. The satellite images shows that there are hardly any freshwater sources. Agriculture is only possible in Saudi Arabia due to groundwater. But this resource is depleting quickly. So, they have already started investing in other countries for agricultural imports. Therefore, all the money made by Saudi Arabia by selling black gold will soon be gone. Saudi Arabia will only need to find a method to convert ocean water into fresh water swiftly. Let's see Saudi Arabia's scorecard of self-sufficient. It has a good score in two major factors. Nigeria. Nigeria is one of the fastest developing country in African continent. It has a population of 19 crores with 111 million of working population. Unemployment is pretty high in this country. Literacy rate of Nigeria is also pretty low, which is 62%. The GDP of Nigeria is $397 billion. The economy of Nigeria got boosted due to oil reserves found in the last decade. There are 8 major rivers in Nigeria. About 44% of its land is considered as cultivated land. The total cultivable land is around 4,12,938 square kilometer. Nigeria will desperately need to find any other source of income, as we all know the crisis of oil which is going on in this pandemic. Let's see Nigeria's scorecard of self-sufficient. It has a good score in two major factors. In conclusion, a self-sufficient country will have to foresee their problems and find a better resolution for survival. Since countries will be busy in feeding their own population, it's unlikely that they will export food to other countries. Countries which will rely on others for agricultural products will have to pay hefty price for it. Therefore, even countries like Singapore and Saudi Arabia with good economic power will struggle to survive. Economies depending on oil have to find other source of income. Humanity has always found a way to live. This time, it is not only about survival to fittest, but also smartest. So, what do you think? Which countries can be self-sufficient and how they will find a way for survival? Please comment below and let us know your thoughts. Hope for the best and subscribe to be curious.